Hello everyone, in this video I want to show you how you could make a pigtail or rat tail splice. So suppose you have two actually piece of the wire, we want to actually make a splice or connection and we want to use the pigtail. So for making the pigtail you actually need to put two wire like this, then just twist the wires together. So see, I'm going to twist these two wires together. So this is actually the pigtail. So now I'm going to show you how you could actually solder the pigtail. So the pigtail actually is very strong connection, so that's actually good without the soldering. But for soldering, usually we start away from the insulation, then we move toward it, and after finishing the soldering we just need to make sure there is no sharp edge on our solder. So let's start to do it. So first you need to clean the tip of your iron, which I'm going to do that right now. So then make sure that's actually hot enough, that's hot enough. So for soldering, just be careful. You need to first put the tip of the iron underneath, and keep that there for a while, which is able to transfer enough heat to your connection. So as you could see here, I actually have that there. So right now I have enough heat. So then I'm actually moving toward the isolation. Okay, you could actually go back and forth, and this is the end of the soldering. So just after you finish your soldering, just wait for a while, then whenever that's cold, just check the connection and make sure there is no actually sharp edge over there. Okay, so again you start away from the isolation, then actually move toward it, and you need to actually be careful. You need to put the tip of the iron underneath and then put the solder on the top. So there is a couple of the mistakes here. Never do these kind of the work. So see, if you just put these on the tip then transferring on this is one of the popular mistake that usually people do. That's what we call the soul holder, which is not actually the good connection. So all the time to put underneath and actually put the soldering wire on the top. So this is actually how you could solder the pigtail. So now you try that and see, could you make the pigtail and solder that. Hello everyone, in this video I want to show you how you could make cable class or mesh splice. So here we have two pieces of the wire, so I want to actually connect them using the cable cross or mesh splice. So for doing that you just need to keep these two wires like this in this position, and you just need to push the wire together then twist it. Okay, so I'm going to actually push two wires together, so then you just twist two wires. Okay, so then I'm twist them. So then your mesh splice is ready. So for soldering that, just using the helping hand, put one side, another one in the other side, and then you start to solder that. So for soldering, as usual, just make sure the tip is clean. So then back here, and you need to start from the middle, this point, and then work to the both way, so I mean left and right. Okay, so I'm going to do that. So I push underneath and put the tip underneath in the middle of the joint. So as usual, you need to wait to transfer enough heat to the wire. So then whenever you have enough heat, you need to actually start to actually push the solder wire to the joint. So again, I wait a little bit and make sure we have enough heat. So still I need to wait more. So you need to actually wait. So right now it looks it's fine. So I actually start to solder. Go to the one side. So then you actually back to the middle and go to the other side of the joint. Okay. Go actually back and forth and make sure you have actually solder in any part of your connection. So you actually need a little weight, and after that you could actually check your joint and make sure there is no sharp edge on your connection. Okay, so if there is any sharp edge, you could actually fix that by moving the tip underneath again and get rid of that sharp edge that you have. So for this one, there is actually no sharp edge here. So and this is cable cross or mesh splice. So you try that and see could you make a cable cross or mesh splice and then iron that. Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn how we could make wrapped cable. So for using this deck technique, you need to push the wire together rather than twist them, then wrap the joint with the smaller size wire. So for soldering, you start from the middle of the joint and work one side, then back to the middle and work toward the other side. So as usual, we need to make sure after soldering there is no sharp edge. So let's do that. So here we have two pieces of the wire. So as I already mentioned, the only things you need to do, you need to actually just push these two wires together, okay, and then wrap with the small size wire. Okay, so I actually hold this here, then the other one actually goes to the others. Okay, so what you did here, you just push the wire together. Okay, so then I'm going to take another small size wire. So as you could see, these small size wire. So then I'm going to start to wrap around this joint. Okay, so you start to wrap that. So as you could see, you start from one side, go to the other side. So if you have actually the extra in one side, you could actually cut that with your wire strip. Okay, so actually cut this from this side. So even if you have the extra, that's fine. You could actually use all them in one side, which is have some extra in this side, which is use all of them, and this one that I'm going to use. Okay, so as you could see, it's actually wrapped with the other wire. So I just push and wrap with the small size wire. Okay, so again, make sure you completely wrap the small size wire. So okay, so right now you have this, which is I'm going to actually solder that. So for soldering, so make sure your iron tip is clean as usual. So I actually clean the iron tip. So then you first make sure your actually iron tip is hot enough. So then you start, as I mentioned, you for soldering start from the middle of the joint and work one side, and then back to the middle and work toward the other side. So see, I'm start with the middle. So just push your tips on the middle of the wire. You need actually a little weight and make sure it's actually transfer enough heat. So then you actually able to, so see right now actually I have enough. So I move actually in one side, then I get again on back and go to the other side, okay? So you need to, whenever this side is not hot enough, you need to a little wait, okay? So right now it's actually good. So again, you back and forth and make sure there is no sharp edge, okay? So I think should be good. So I wait a little bit and then you could actually touch your joint and make sure there is no sharp edge. So if I could see this, so this is what you have. So just again, you could just double check and see there is nothing, no actually sharp edge there. So this is your actually wrapped cable, and right now you could do that and see if you could actually make one wrapped cable. Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to explain how you could make three-way splice. So in this method you wrap around the first wire and then back down in the opposite direction and continue wrap down. So let's see how we could do that. So here you see I have actually two wire which I want to have three-way splice. So as you could see, first I actually wrap the first wire actually around the second one. I start to wrap from up. So see, I'm going to wrap from up, which is, as you could see here, actually wrap from up, go down. So then you actually go to the opposite direction. So see, so right now I'm going to the opposite direction, which is this direction. Then you actually go down and again you wrap on the opposite direction, okay? So as you could see here, have this, then actually continue to wrap. If you have some extra, which is I have some, should be fine. You could cut that or you could use all of them, which is I think I'm going to actually cut the whole thing. So I'm cutting from here, so then continue to actually wrap the rest of that, okay? So this is actually what you see here, okay? So first I start from here, go up in left side, I actually wrap one time, so then go to the opposite direction and again have another wrap in the opposite direction, okay? So these actually three-way splice is ready. So let's see how we could actually solder that. So as usual, we need a helping hand, which we hold the connection. So let's just make sure it is. So I'm going to cut this one a little bit. Okay. So right now we have the connection. So let's start to actually solder that. So for soldering, again, we start from the middle and go to the left and right side, okay? So see, I'm starting to actually solder from here. So a little weight to transfer enough heat. And you need to actually wait enough to have enough heat over there and then able to solder that. So see, still is not actually hot enough. So the other things you need to be careful is you put the tip underneath and you are actually melting your wire on the connection, okay, not on the tip. Okay, see, so here I did enough in the middle, so then I'm actually move to the one side, which is this side that you see, add actually enough solder. So whenever you are done, you would actually move back to the other side. Again, same story, you keep these underneath, keep over there to transfer enough heat. So when you have enough heat, you actually move toward the other side, okay? So it's almost done. So again, wait a little bit. So then you actually touch your connection and make sure there is no actually sharp edge, which is, it looks good, okay? So you could actually see that. This is actually the three-way splice, okay? So this is actually the last technique that we learn in the class for join or splice the wires. So now you do that and see, could you actually make one three-way splice? Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to show how you could use the heat shrink tubing. So the heat shrink tubing is a shrinkable plastic tube used to insulate the wires. It's actually provide an environmental protection for the wire connection and also the joint. So what I want to show in this video, I want to actually connect two wire, use actually the mesh splice, and I want to solder the joint and also insulate the joint with using the heat shrink, which you see here we have one heat shrink. So heat shrink comes in the different size, so depend on the wire size that you have, you need to actually select the your heat shrink tube. So what I'm going to do here, I want to actually make one mesh splice and also insulate the joint or connection. So for doing that, before you make your mesh splice, you need to actually put the shrinking tube inside your wire, so that I did that first. So then you actually make your mesh splice, which is we usually push two wires together and then we just twist them, okay? So as you could see here, I actually push the wires together and I just push and twist two wires. So I made actually the mesh splice. So right now I'm going to solder that. So as you already know, for soldering the joint, we usually start from the middle and go to the both sides. So to do that, so just clean the tip of the iron and make sure that is clean. Then just make sure it's hot enough, which is hot enough. So I put the tip underneath, wait a little bit to transfer the heat to the wire, then actually see you need to wait a little bit more. So then whenever that's ready, you just put that around. Okay, so do the same thing actually for both of them. Okay, so a little wait to actually make that cold, so then check that and make sure there is no sharp edge. Okay, so I already put the shrink inside the wire, but because this is just a demo, so definitely in real case this end actually is not open. So that means whenever you put that inside the wire, it's not going to fall down. For this case, actually it's going to fall down. That's fine. This is just a demo. Okay, just don't forget, before you solder and make the joint, you need to actually put the tube inside your wire. After do that, because in the real case these two end is not open and you couldn't do that. Okay, but for this is just demo, this is just a training, so that's fine. So again, before to make a junction, put the tube, make your solder, make your connection. So right now I want to isolate this connection. You actually put the tube shearing on the joint. So the other thing is you need to actually cut these heating tube. So because we have the different size, so see, this is actually one size, we have another size, so see different lengths and size. You need to actually fit the tube and see how long do you need and cut over there, and also you need to have the right size for your wire. So I already did that. I cut this, and right now I want to actually hit the tube and insulate the connection. Okay, so again, this is my connection and the joint. Right now I want to isolate that after this soldering. So the tools that we need is the heating gun, so which is able to produce heat. You could use any other type of the tools that able to make the heat. So I'm going to start to give the heat and see. Yeah, maybe if I do more things, maybe that's probably for getting a better idea. I need to actually do that in this way. Okay, so I'm going to show you how it's going to be shrink. So see, it's going to actually shrink. So this is one side. I just turn that around and do that with all other sizes. Again, I turn that around and actually. So you could actually turn that around and make sure you shrink all parts of that wire. Okay. I think right now that's fine. Just turn around and give enough heat to the tube that's able to shrink. Okay. So turn that off. And right now you could see you actually insulate the joint and it's actually looks good. Okay, so if the reason I all the time I mention you don't need to have any sharp edge after soldering, because if you have a sharp edge it's actually able to tear down this tube. Okay, so see here there is no aging sharp, so that for that reason you see that's actually flat and there is no edge sharp here too. Okay, so this is how you could use the heat shearing tubing to insulate your joint. So now you do that and see could you make one mesh splice and insulate that with the heat shearing tubing.